Can you give us your name, age, education, and occupation?
My name is Roberta. I'm 54 years old. I'm a para-educator. And what else?
Education.
Oh, I've had some college.
All right. Do you have any experience with Shakespeare? By that we mean, have you read any of his plays, seen any of his plays?
I've seen his plays. I've attempted to read some. Not much success.
Okay. How old were you when you were introduced to Shakespeare?
Probably high school. Did not understand it.
Do you remember the first play you ever read in Shakespeare for high school?
I don't remember the first play I ever read.
Did you remember any of the plays you went over in high school?
For reading? No, I don't. Midsummer's Night Dream, probably.
Midsummer Night's Dream is the one you remember?
Yeah,
okay.
Probably.
Why do you think Shakespeare's texts are still regarded as essential for performers and students?
I think maybe just the complexity of the characters and, you know, I don't know why.
That's fine. If you don't know why, you can say you don't know why. Why do you think Shakespeare has such cultural capital? If you don't know, you could say you don't know.
I don't know, but he does.
Do you think he should have such cultural capital? Do you think he's as great as people make him out to be?
I think he's very good, but I think he is very hard for people to understand.
So do you think because he's hard to understand that makes him seem more lofty?
Yeah, I think that's probably part of the...
Okay. Has Shakespeare changed the way you look at the world?
No. No. He hasn't had that much impact on my life.
Do you think race should be discussed in an educational setting?
Yes.
Why?
Because I think education is, you know, the more you talk about things, then the more people are going to understand it. And, you know, you've got to talk about all the different cultural issues and in order to understand other people and their views. And it's the only way we're going to get rid of racism.
Have you ever heard of non-traditional casting?
I'm not exactly sure what that term means.
Okay. Have you ever heard of colorblind casting?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think of colorblind casting?
I'm not sure. There's sometimes I think it'd be fine, and other times I think it would be not appropriate. It just depends on the piece.
Have you ever heard of Shakespeare's problem plays? Have you ever heard the term problem plays referring to Shakespeare?
No.
No. So Merchant of Venice and Othello are considered problem plays. So are Antony and Cleopatra, Titus Andronicus.
Why?
They're referred as problem plays because they have lots of sort of racial tension, most of them.
Okay.
It's intrinsically written into the play, the racist remarks.
Oh.
So you can't really take them out. Like in Merchant of Venice, there's lots of things about Jews.
Well, I mean, if you take the play for the time it was written and, you know, it just kind of shows what was going on then, you know, what was happening at the time. I mean...
But what about for the actors to play those characters? Would you want to cast a Jew as a Jew that is being... They make him convert to Christianity is like his punishment, and they also make him give away all his money for doing nothing wrong, for wanting a guy to pay him his money back.
Okay.
Do you think that would be an issue?
It's probably going to be an issue, but maybe rightly so. But like I said, it's part of the play, so I don't think you should change the play if that's what you're asking me. I don't.
No, I'm just asking, do you think it would be appropriate to ask a Jew to play that role? But would it also be appropriate to ask someone who wasn't a Jew to play that role? Because to make a Jew play that role makes them have to accept the racist remarks. Mostly, it's more prevalent in Othello, where Othello eternalizes the racism and kills himself saying that he's getting rid of the turban Turk.
If the person playing it was okay with it, I mean, you know, obviously it can be used just to bring light to the racism there is, you know, so it doesn't necessarily have to be a negative, but it just depends on the person who's playing it. If he was not comfortable, then no. But I think that'd be better to have a Jew play it than a non-Jew, because then you could really open yourself up for racism. I do.
It is funny. Open yourself up for racism.
Well,
no, I understand what you're saying.
For criticism.
Yeah.
No, I didn't word it very well. No. Open yourself now. Okay, let's run at that.
So you kind of answered the next question is, do you think these plays should still be performed?
Yeah.
And why? You said because.
I don't think you should. What's the word I'm looking for?
Censor?
Censor. Yes, thank you. I'm getting old. You know, it's not, you know, it's all in context. And they've got to realize, you know, when it was written and the culture in which it was written, and we learn from those things. And
okay. Should Shakespeare plays be rewritten to make them acceptable for today's audiences?
No, they should not be rewritten.
Okay. Would you consider any Shakespearean character to be the pinnacle of any actor's career?
I'm sure some actors might think so, but I'm not that familiar with all the plays to know that, you know, which ones would be. But I know there are actors who feel that way. But I couldn't tell you the characters.
You can tell you characters. Okay. Would it surprise you then that many people consider the role of Othello to be the pinnacle of a black actor's career?
It would surprise me.
Would or wouldn't?
Would not.
Okay. Why?
I'm not that familiar with Othello, but because there's certain plays that of Shakespeare's that people feel, you know, the character is, if they can master that, then they've reached a peak.
Okay. That's all the questions.